This week's guest is Jane Goodall. I am freaking out, okay? I am so excited for you to watch this episode. Jane has dedicated her life to science and has made groundbreaking discoveries. She is truly a trailblazer and has paved the way forward for generations of women. Before we get into this interview, I did want to take a moment to acknowledge that I think that this episode might be a little different than what you're used to on Call Her Daddy every week. I know a lot of you come here to get to know some of the biggest celebrities on a more intimate level, and it obviously doesn't hurt when they spill some tea, but sometimes I think it's good to switch it up and step away from the conversations that we're having on social media constantly 24/7. And so I wanted to sit down with someone who has spent their life truly connected to the real world. And that is why this conversation with Jane is genuinely so special. Dr. Jane Goodall is 91 years old, the oldest guest that we've had on Call Her Daddy. And the wisdom that she carries is unlike anything that I've ever experienced. Sitting across from her, I felt it. Her presence, her perspective. It was so grounding in a way that I didn't realize I even needed. And I want you to feel that too today. So I suggest watching this episode alone, whether you are on a walk, you're at the gym, you're laying in bed, you're at your home, you're at work, whatever it be. I just ask that you give yourself the space to really absorb what she is saying, because I promise it's worth it. So let's get into it.
What is up, Daddy Gang? It is your founding father, Alex Cooper, with Call Her Daddy.
Dr. Jane Goodall, welcome to Call Her Daddy.
Hi, hello.
How are you doing?
Well, I'm in the middle of a American spring tour, and it's pretty exhausting, to be honest. Yesterday was super exhausting.
Can you tell me a little bit about what you're doing?
Well, what I'm doing is trying to help people understand that we're going through very dark times, and if we don't get together and start doing what each of us can to make the world a better place, the future's very uncertain.
That's why I'm really excited that you're here today, because you walk into a room and I can just feel your wisdom and the things that you have learned throughout your life. It's like an honor to even just get to sit down with you for an hour. I love how you're like working so hard, and isn't it your birthday tomorrow?
It is my birthday tomorrow.
Jane.
It's another way of, what do I have to do? What's the hardest thing I have to do? Is raise money for all the different projects.
Yeah.
And people think, oh, Jane must be wealthy. She gives these lectures, she gets lots of money. Yes, but the money goes to our projects.
Do you ever take time for yourself? Like, are you going to celebrate on your 91st birthday? What are we doing tomorrow, Jane?
People like to celebrate my birthday the whole year, so I get all these birthdays and all these birthday cakes.
I didn't bring you a cake today because I knew you always get cakes from people, so I brought you whiskey instead.
Oh, that's super.
You like whiskey, right?
Yes, well, my mother, she died when she was 98. And she was sharp to the end, although she had Parkinson's. But she just didn't drink water. She said it didn't agree with her. I don't like much water either. She couldn't drink wine. So her tipple was whiskey. So we made a thing that 7:00, wherever I was, I would raise a toast to her.
That is so sweet. And I love that your mom was like, water doesn't agree with me. I'm more of a whiskey gal. What is your favorite kind of whiskey?
Oh, not the very expensive malty ones. I hope you didn't get a very expensive.
I got you one that's like, it's my favorite whiskey recently. It's this Japanese whiskey.
Oh, that's very good.
You'll be taking it home today. What did you do for your 90th birthday? That's a big one.
That again was celebrated the whole year. The only thing I really, really liked was when I was greeted on the beach by 90 dogs.
90 dogs.
90 dogs.
See, that's why I brought Henry today.
I
I said to you, I have not brought Henry in a while because you want to be respectful. You don't know when people are dog people or not. And when I knew that you're a dog person, immediately, selfishly, I'm like, Henry needs to meet the great Jane. Like, I was like, you have to meet him and he needs to meet you. 90 dogs. Who facilitated
90
that?
dogs, and it was in Carmel on the sea. It was an off-leash part of the beach, and everybody brought their dogs. And so I was throwing sticks in the sea, and then it began to rain, and then it stopped raining, and it was just amazing. It was wonderful.
I like believe maybe that's like a part of what heaven feels like, is just like you open your eyes and there's just dogs everywhere, happy, running free.
And we got a great photo of all the owners with their dogs and me sitting in front with the sea behind us. It's a great photo.
I love it. You mentioned you travel 300 days a year for work. Jane, I get exhausted from a week of travel. Like, what is your secret? How do you do it?
Well, I do it because I have to. You know, it probably sounds strange to you, but by now being, 90, I feel that I was put on this planet with a mission. And right now, as I said, we're going through dark times. And the big problem is people are losing hope. Many people come up to me and say, well, I look around at all that's going wrong in the world and I just feel helpless. And, so I say, well, you can't solve the problems of the world, but what about where you live, your community? Yeah. Is there something there? You feel you don't like litter on the pavement, or you don't like they're planning to dig up a little forest to put yet another super mall. Go and do something about it.
But you saying that you feel like you've been put on this earth with this mission, like, does it ever feel like too much of a burden to carry on your own? And how, as much as you put into it, if you're not getting out of it, like, do you ever become exhausted?
Well, the thing is, this mission keeps me going because there's so much to do.
Yeah.
And if we lose hope, we're doomed, because if you lose hope, you become apathetic and do nothing. But I'm not alone. The Jane Goodall Institute is now in 25 countries, different chapters. And in addition, there's our program for young people, Roots and Shoots, which is humanitarian and environmental. And that's in 75 countries.
Wow. How incredible that you have left such a legacy that whether you were doing it or not doing it, it will now live on forever, hopefully.
You said you have left. I'm not dead yet.
No, I'm saying if you left and stop, Jane. I mean, if you left and you decided, like, it's time to retire, like, I want to just go and relax on a beach somewhere. Like, if you decided to not do it, like, that is, I feel like, the test of a real legacy, is knowing that it is going to just keep living on because you've, like, touched so many people.
No, not yet. I mean,
you still got work to do.
I can't retire as long as I can, And if I become physically disabled, if my brain works, I want to do more writing because I love writing.
Your little friend sitting next to you, what is his name again?
Mr. H.
Mr. H. Okay, I need this story because I wanted to ask you, obviously you've had such an incredible career, but for some of my younger audience who maybe are becoming fans of you today or are fans of you, can you talk about, like, how you got into what you do and what you love, and also how does Mr. H play into your story?
Okay, well, let me deal with Mr. H first.
Okay, let's get
then
to
I
it.
can put him away.
Perfect.
Mr. H was given to me 34 years ago by a man who thought he was giving me a stuffed chimpanzee. His name is Gary Horn. He was blinded in the U.S. Marines when he was 21. Anyway, he thought he was giving me a stuffed chimp, and I made him hold the tail. I said, Gary, chimps don't have tails. He said, never mind, take him with you, and you know my spirit's with you. So he's been with me to 64 countries, and he's extremely famous. And if you touch him, I say if you stroke him, the inspiration rubs off. So you asked how I got into it. Well,
yes.
I was born loving animals. And the most important thing in my young childhood is my mother, because she supported me. So when I was 1.5 years old, I don't remember this, but she told me, She came into my room and found I'd taken a whole handful of wriggly earthworms to bed. And instead of getting angry like most mothers, because, she just said, she told me later, "Jane, you are looking so intently. I think maybe you were wondering how they walk without legs." So we took them back into the earth. Anyway, the point of that is that was the making of a little scientist, asking questions, not getting the answer, deciding to find out for yourself, making a mistake, not giving up, and learning patience. And a different mother might have crushed that early curiosity, and I might not be talking to you now.
I feel like there's so many people that could be listening that envy that, right? Because so much of when you're young, you're able to flourish based off of the environment that you grow up in. And there's a lot of kids that dream of things, and maybe it's cute when they're young, but as they start to get old, then the adults are like, that's not realistic. You can't make a career out of that, right?
That's exactly right.
When you told people that your dream in life was to go to Africa and to research, what was the reaction? Call Her Daddy is brought to you by T-Mobile. When it's time for a big, juicy gossip session with one of my friends, I need a reliable way to get all the tea. And by tea, I mean T-Mobile, okay? Having more 5G coverage means getting 5G signal more often. And as someone who is constantly on the go, it is so nice to have a reliable network that I can count on. Being a T-Mobile customer also means that I have access to a ton of perks like concert tickets, skipping lines at events, and free in-flight Wi-Fi so I can keep posting from the sky. That free in-flight Wi-Fi has been key lately because we're trying to find my best friend Lauren a man on every flight we take, and I have to keep the Daddy Gang updated live with our progress. T-Mobile also has VIP Club Magenta lounges that offer free drinks for T-Mobile customers, and you guys know I can't say no to a free dirty martini. So, Daddy Gang, kick your old carrier to the curb. It is time to block their number. Then go and hit up T-Mobile when you're ready to really be taken care of. Check out the VIP treatment at tmobile.com/benefits. When you told people that your dream in life was to go to Africa and to research, what was the reaction?
Well, you have to remember to start with, I grew up in the war, started when I was 5, and, we didn't have much money. My father went off to join the army, and we went to live with my grandmother. It was House of Women, and me and my sister, my mother and her 2 sisters, and my grandmother. And because there was no television back then, hadn't been invented, which you probably find it hard to imagine, don't you?
I find it hard, but I feel like I talked so much to my grandmother about her life because I just naturally want to know about people's life experiences. So if anything, I think there's a part now where we envy that. And I know that probably sounds weird, where like I envy the older generations having a much more like simplistic lifestyle because I do think it's kind of like corroding our brains in a capacity.
No doubt.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I learned from being outside with nature, watching the squirrels and the birds, garden in England, and from books. I love books. And do you know Dr. Dolittle?
Yes, of course.
Yes. Well, I found the book of Dr. Dolittle when I was 8, came from the library. And then I used to save up just a few pennies of pocket money. My sister bought sweets with them. I saved them, and I found a little second-hand bookshop. And I was 10 years old, and I found this tiny, cheap edition of Tarzan of the Apes. Well, no TV Tarzan, no film, just the book. So I fell in love with this glorious Lord of the Jungle. And what did Tarzan do? He married the wrong Jane. Anyway, I knew there wasn't a Tarzan. That's when my dream began. I will grow up, go to Africa, live with wild animals, and write books. No thought of being a scientist. No thought of, And everybody said, that's ridiculous. I mean, you don't have money, Africa's far away, and you're just a girl. Not my mum. She said, if you really want to do something like this, you're going to have to work really hard, take advantage of every opportunity. And if you don't give up, hopefully you find a way. And that's the message I take around the world, particularly in disadvantaged